Mhm. All right. So, good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you,
Yes.
bro. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to today's analysis session. How was your weekend? How's it going?
It's fine.
It's fine. Hope you guys rested.
Yes, we do.
All right. So it's good to know. Okay, I did only say slow, but overall, okay. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So you all are welcome to today's Kiss Me Good Evening. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Everyone, you're welcome to today's analysis session. So yeah, I don't know if others are still trying to join. Uh okay, hopefully they join us before we start. Um Yeah, so how was the previous week? Previous trading week. How was market for you guys? Before we delve deep into what we are going to do today, I said I was going to ask. So how was it for you guys? Was it good? Was it fast, slow, profitable? I'm hoping it was good for everyone, yeah? Because I noticed that everybody was active. A lot of you were active last week, this previous week. So I'm going to guess that it was a good week for most of us, at least from the results I could see. From the results I could see, yeah, it was looking good. Kiss me, say we did try. Yes, yes, it is well. Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Today, as we normally do, preparing for the upcoming week, and we'll be looking at different pairs. Sorry, can you hear me now? I think I muted by mistake.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you now.
All right. So starting with gold, then we move down to EU USD and also BTC USD. But BTC is kind of a tricky one. Well, we're still going to look at it here. All depends. So let's start. Let's start. Usually, when we want to start, now, fundamentals first. Let's see what's happening. So, what are the major things that have happened this past week? Remember last week we were looking forward to the 9th of July, which was the deadline for us to know if Trump is going to scatter everywhere with tariffs again, or is going to, announce trade deals. So I told you guys last week that based on the development of that news, we'll know what is going to, continue happening for the remaining part of this month, alongside other news that may come out. So fast forward, this past week, as we were expecting, or me in my mind, uh, I was expecting to see Trump scatter everywhere, and that was exactly what happened. Yeah. So Trump slammed tariffs at almost 40 nations, small trade partners, almost 40 countries. He gave just 30% tariffs, 20% tariffs, also increased tariffs for other countries. The new countries that he did not give tariffs before, he also gave them tariffs. And people like the major nations, Shada, were highlighted were Brazil. Just yesterday, European Union, Eurozone, which is European Union countries like France, Spain, and so on and so Italy. Then we also give people like Canada, we have Mexico, South Africa, Malaysia, and so in all, um, like in essence, he gave everybody tariffs. He did exactly what I was expecting to do. announce a lot of tariffs instead of trade deals. And he also gave them a deadline. Again, now I'm telling you guys, another deadline, he extended deadline for some nations till August 1st. Understand? So August 1st is going to be another important day. Is it first or third? But around there, sha. So more tariffs came out, and you know what he did now. He just kept on giving them back to back. That's for tariffs. Now, apart from tariffs, another major thing was interest rate decision. We've been speaking about this for the past few months. I told you guys immediately after that war, I said I will explain. When we get to Euro USD, we'll look at that adequately. So, for the Federal Reserve, we've been speaking about this rate cut for almost 2 weeks now. And like I said, based on the last NFP data and also the news that we have, the information we have got in terms of job data, inflation, prospective inflation and everything, it is looking like they will not still cut rates this month. It doesn't look like they will be cutting rates anytime soon. Me, I'm guessing till September or maybe ending of August. But one thing I can say is that from the look of things, from a data perspective, the data I've seen, and also a fundamental perspective, both micro and macro, we might not see rate cuts anytime soon. And that is a big, big blow for gold and also BTC alongside Euro and GU too. It's also a big blow to those pair. Now, I said it, as much as tariffs move the market, rate cuts, I was emphasizing on the importance of interest rate. They are something that moves the market a lot. You understand? Interest rate is like a geopolitical major stuff. You understand, that affects the market just the way we saw that war affecting the price of gold. Now, there are two things. Tariffs are showing that gold should continue buying, which I was highlighting last week. You understand? I highlighted this in last week. I said, me, I don't see when price was, selling, all these sales that was happening here. I said, all these things happening here, I did not see from a fundamental perspective why it should happen. But from a technical perspective, later on I could see that okay, price was retracing back to a high value area, which could cause deeper retracement to those levels that if you attended the midweek session, I'm very sure you understand what I'm saying, to those levels up there. You understand? Because I cited something during the midweek session. I said that although it looked like gold has mitigated that area, to me, what I could see is that we have actually not done deep mitigation into the actual areas where we should be expecting sales from. And that's why I identified more imbalanced area alongside our suppliers, magnet areas that price should push towards to. And I expected buys until we got to that level. So from a tariff perspective, towards the ending of last week, we can say that okay, the effect of those tariffs that Trump was laying out started kicking in, and we got buys all through. Now, the thing is that short term, more tariffs has been released between Friday and today. So I expect gold to maintain, like, I don't want to say a medium term bullish movement, but I expect gold to still be bullish. Short term, like very short, I expect that the buys will fade off anytime soon. You understand? Unless there is further escalation on tariffs, and unless nations like EU and all them Canada, they retaliate and start saying, okay, since you give us, we'll give you back. If there is an escalation like that, then gold might continue flying. But because of the fact that everything is pointing towards the bigger picture, which is interest rates not being cut now, I expect gold to still sell from a bigger picture perspective. So short term, I'm expecting buys to sell, and we'll see how technicals align with it when we analyze the chart. So for gold, I'm expecting a buy to sell scenario. That's what I've been expecting since the beginning of last week, and we can see that we started getting those buys. A lot of people were still fixated on the sales. I could not see any reason why we should continue selling, and technically, price showed that throughout last week. You understand? And the same thing going into this week, the earliest part of this week, I am still expecting short-term strength on gold. Then the sales should kick in anytime soon, maybe towards the ending of this new week or maybe the middle, depending on how fast gold moves. But I know that the sales are around the corners. As much as these tariffs are coming out very heavy, I don't expect it to move price a lot. Why? Because gold has priced in measure of tariff movement during the earliest part of this year. Everything you are seeing here, they were all this buy, the bullish order flow we had here, until we got to this top, they were as a result of the madness of tariffs. Understand? So since April or March, let me just say around there, gold has priced in majority of tariff issues. You understand? So I don't expect tariff to move the market as much. The market is going to need something new if it's going to blast up. You understand? And the only news, the only thing to follow up on after tariff is interest rates decision and what the Federal Reserve decides to do in the next coming week, which is on the 30th of this month. I believe that they are not going to cut rate for no reason. I've been saying it since I don't see any reason why they should cut rate. And I trust Powell is somebody that is very, 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 very stubborn. He stands on his ground. You understand? So because of the interest rate news and tariff effect fading over time, I expect gold to sell long term, maybe going into the remaining part of this quarter. But we'll analyze to see, Sha. We'll analyze to see. Then there are some certain rumors that came about. That was yesterday I saw them. Now, these are things that can change the course of gold, but we're not going to go deep into them unless we get more information. Number one, there is a possibility that Ukraine and Russia will resume war. According to what I saw, is I am even hearing that Russia started attacking again, but it is unclear. The reason why I did not put it as a major news is because it has not been reposted by my trusted sources, so I did not really put too much on it. Then another big rumor that could change the direction of not just gold but Bitcoin is that we are hearing news that Powell, which is the Federal Reserve chairman, might resign. Now that is big news. Now this is what you call big news. If it comes out that next week it is true, it is going to move the market like mad. I will not be surprised that that is the reason why BTC was already flying, because it has already priced it in. I don't know. But if Powell resigns as the Federal Reserve chairman, it means Trump will put who he wants there. And if Trump appoints who he wants as the Federal Reserve chairman, there's a likelihood that they will cut rates even earlier than that September. And if they do that, gold will fly and Bitcoin will fly. But these things I just listed out, they have not been confirmed. So that's why we're working with what we have on ground, the confirmed ones like the tariffs, and also the fact that for now, there's nothing that's still pointing towards interest rate being cut. The next week is also a big week because we have news like inflation for US dollar coming out, inflation for pound sterling coming out, and also some job data that's coming out. Now, inflation, why is it important? If inflation comes out next week high for US dollar, it's going to give the Federal Reserve more reasons why they should not even cut rates. Anything that makes that inflation comes out, the actual report comes out higher than the forecasted one, it's going to solidify the Federal Reserve case on why they are not going to cut rates. And it means that gold is like going to be like a final blow, a confirmation that gold will sell. And Bitcoin, as much as Bitcoin is going, we'll get there. Bitcoin might do something crazy too, which is dump heavily. But we'll look at that as we progress into this session. So a lot of things are coming from, I think, from this next week to the end of the month. We're going to be seeing a lot of funny things happening in the market. Now let's see how let's see how technically they align. You understand? So I think I'll take this one out. So, like I said, from a fundamental perspective, due to most recent tariffs, I still expect short-term buys on gold. Then I also expect price to align for sales very soon. So you understand from the bigger picture. Let's see if the technicals are showing us the same thing. So we've been working with this range, yeah. We've been working with this range for the past few weeks. We have this high and we also have this low around here. Also have this low around here. So now major thing about this range is that okay, price dropped and we know that this range is bearish. Why? Because if you look at this swing structure, this swing high to this swing low, you'll notice that we have been respecting bearish order flow, which we have looked at in the past, where we said that this high swept a bit of liquidity before pushing downwards to the downside. And when we got here, again, we reacted from this support area around here. Although price swept the previous week, but we reacted from that support area, which started that retracement that we are seeing. Now, this was what happened last week. For those that were here on Wednesday, I gave you guys 3 scenarios on what gold could do throughout the week. You understand? I told you guys that because we got to this level, which we're expecting continuation sales to the downside. I told you guys that when the buy starts, because okay, let's do it like this. Let's go to the 1 hour so that it's clear. So what happened was that after gold mitigated, not mitigated, but pushed up close to these supply areas around there, we saw a push back down and we saw gold change character with after reacting from that support. So we saw a shift of structure where price swept liquidity into that support, then pushed up, and we got the first shift, you understand, to signify that, okay, we are going to get an extension back up to the upside. After that shift, one thing I noticed was that, okay, price broke up, then came down, swept liquidity. If you go to lower time frames, you will see all these things where and tapped into a demand area around there. Then that was when we now got that after that sweep of liquidity, we got this extension to the upside, which took out this high here. Understand? So when price was selling back, when we go back to this level, and that's why I bought trial last week. I wanted to see, I showed you guys on Wednesday. I said price is likely to respect this area. If you were here on Wednesday, you would understand because this was something I highlighted. I said when price go back to this level, price is likely to respect it. And if we get that confirmation, we are going to see buys until we get back to this area. Now, why did I say until we get back to this area? It's because when price came here, we saw another shift, you understand, to the downside. We saw another shift of structure to the downside, which made people believe that that sells to 3,200 level, which a lot of people have been expecting, which is 3,200 level, have started. But me, I was seeing something different. Number one, because I told you guys from a fundamental perspective, there was no reason for us to get extensive sales to the downside. And another thing I could see is that price was doing something. It was just building up fuel. I highlighted this trend line liquidity on Wednesday that it was building up fuel. And when I see gold doing things like this, when it's retracing in an old-fashioned manner where it's respecting trend line, it is just fuel that price will wipe out. You understand? Because gold always seeks liquidity. So after this shift of structure, what happened was that we got this supply area around here, which price came to tap into, and we saw a sweep of liquidity before it tapped into that supply. That was why I was very cautious of this area around here during the week. You understand? When the buy started, I said that we can take buys till we get here, then wait for confirmation before we say, okay, there's going to be another push, to the upside to invalidate this area. And one thing I said is that the reason why I was highlighting wait for confirmation before we sell is because to me, I already knew. I did not just want to say it plainly like that, because so that not to make other people that have the bias of sales feel somehow. But I already knew that this level was not going to hold because it was pure liquidity. You understand? So when price eventually invalidated this trend, which was the first sign, Price got into the supply area, consolidated for a bit, then I saw some confirmations which made me enter long. Then we finally took out this area. Now, why this is important is because earlier, I think there was a time I sent an analysis like this to you guys. So now let's see how everything has been aligning since then, where I said this high here is liquidity, buy side liquidity. I remember that was like 2 weeks ago. And one thing I expect from gold is that price will come back. No, that time gold was still selling. Price will come back to sweep that liquidity and give us confirmation to the downside. That was what I was expecting. Why? Number one, because of the fact that here was liquidity. Number two, we had not gotten deep mitigation into this area of this swing. We have not gotten deep mitigation into, even though it's not going to be there, at least you understand, to fill those imbalance area. Before we got this buys, this area was free. This area was still free, that gap there. And that's why in my previous analysis, this was the charts I used during the week, I identified this area as the magnet area. I said price was going to come back here no matter what happened. And that's why I aggressively took buys until we came to this level and I closed on my position, because from this level onwards, we can expect danger on the chart, because now we have swept the previous buy side liquidity and we have gotten deeper into that supply area. Although I still see another magnet area here, you understand that price could push up to, which is the 373 levels. But let us see how things are still going to line up from the analysis we are currently doing. So we tapped into the first magnet area, which is imbalance area. We have filled that area. And as expected, like I said, this retracement was actually going for a deeper push to the other side, and it took out people that were stacking sales around there, which is early sellers. So we have gotten inducement of those early sellers. We've gotten inducement of those early sellers into, sorry, let me take this off, into the first area I highlighted. Now, the thing is that we still have a little bit of should I say magnet area again, because I call imbalance magnet area. Price is always attracted to those areas, you understand, because orders must be filled for the market to move very well. So this is another area, this is another reason why I feel like we can still extend. Number one is because this high now, this is where market closed last week. So this high of last week is already a liquid, is already a liquid area. There's liquidity resting above that high. And we also have a little bit of imbalance. If you go into the 1 hour, you see that we are yet to fill this. We have this week here, and we have not filled the imbalance on this candle. So that's why I also, like I said, if you check the previous chart, I highlighted that area too as another level where we can see extension into before we start expecting the sell. So from a technical perspective, what can I see? You understand? If you understand structural waves very well, you would have seen these buys coming. You understand? Because I saw a lot of people shorting during the week before they eventually flipped bullish. You would have seen these buys coming, because this move that happened there was what we call the retracement wave down to deeper supply area. You understand? It was a classic retracement push to the deeper supply area. Now that we have taken out this buy side liquidity, but I've also created this new liquidity that I expect to be taken as the week opens. What I am expecting market to do now, you can see how this is where we can now align it with our what's the name of this thing, our fundamental and data we have. Now the data we have shows what? It shows that short term we can still get buys, and from a technical perspective, I'm seeing liquidity. I'm seeing one more magnet area where price can retrace to, you understand? So it is still showing me that, okay, yes, we are already to me, we're already in danger zone. I will not be surprised if gold continues selling from here, but pairing fundamentals and what is on ground, I still believe that we can get an extension here, if possible, even a deeper one into this area before we now start seeing those major sales and the effect of interest rates kicking in. You understand? So to me, I feel like it's very clear for me. What I want to see at the earliest part of the week is let me just say between Monday, Tuesday, just a short retracement to a discount level around there, then one more buy to take out this high into this level I identified, or we might even get, but me, I'll be taking profits once we fill this imbalance. If I'm going, because I'm going to still take the buys, if I see the opportunity to take the buys, I'm going to be targeting this imbalance area, and I will take my profit there, because the moment we fill this area, we might not see the need to retrace back into 390 levels again. We can just start seeing that sales. And like I said, I already told you guys that for me, I believe that this time, just like we looked at the war when it was coming to an end, I believe that in tariffs will not push price deep as people are now, because people are now expecting deep buys to this area here. You understand? I am not still that bullish on gold. You understand? I believe that these buys are still short-term buys. And when we get to these key levels from 370 to 390 or 389, we might see those sales kick in. But again, it depends on what happens. We know Trump has done it over and over again. I always say this thing because so that you guys don't, forget, Trump can still escalate things. If he escalates things, fine, we might get a blast above here. But with the current data and everything that we have on ground, this area is likely to hold. You understand? Based on the fact that I expect that interest rates, because one thing about interest rates and Federal Reserve cuts is that before that day, price will start doing what will happen that day. Most of the time, price starts pricing in the fundamentals. So before the 30th of July, or let me just say August 1st, I would not be surprised if gold starts selling before that time, because if it gets to that day, everybody already know that they are going to cut rates. So it is easy for everybody to jump into the sales, you understand? But the thing is that the institutions, they don't play like that, because they know that obviously when price gets to that, when it's getting to that time, everybody start looking for sell. For people that many people might not even know how these things really. So for people that knows how interest rate affects gold, they will start rushing in sales, you understand? But before that time, the sales might have already happened and we might just see them all wiped out. So that's why I expect that interest rate should start kicking in. Effect should start kicking in from this week. Now, for next week, now, since I know that I'm looking for short-term buys, yeah, where am I going to be looking for buys from? So I have a couple of key areas I'll be watching out for. Now, number one starts from this area here. Now, I'll tell you guys why this area before I look at we look at other demand areas. Why I say this area. Well, yeah, now since that was last 2 weeks, Friday. That was when the sales, Thursday, Friday, Thursday, that's when all these sales started. We held this area for a long period of time where price came down and it's turned this level into a resistance level. You can see it since Friday, that was 4th of July. Yeah, you can see it's on Thursday, yeah, from Thursday, 3rd of July to 4th to the new week that we entered and so on. This level held as resistance a lot of times and it pushed price down. So I believe that if we are going to get buys, there will be a demand area within this level that we can watch out for price to, so price can do something like this. We have gotten the first break of that level, so I would not be surprised. And price is yet, if you go to the 1 hour, we have gotten the break of that level. We have not really retested it very well. As me, I would prefer us to retest it. So I believe that price can just come down, sweep all this liquidity here, and maybe just give some confirmation, then that extension we are looking for. So this is one of the levels I'll be keeping my eyes for if we are going to see buys, although there's a lot of liquidity resting below it too. And that is why it leads me to the other area that I would be keeping my eyes for if we are going to get deep retracement before we buy. So another level I'll be keeping my eyes for is this area around here. Now, why this area? Number one, this is the swap demand level. Why? Because this is a level that pushed into that supply, resisted the supply. The supply, sellers try to push market down, you understand, from this area as expected. but demand buyers came in, and I'm very sure you guys saw the buyers I took during the week. I took buyers from here. Demand buyers came in from this level and pushed price up. So this is what we call a flip zone. So I also believe that there is demand power here, and if we get a deep retracement for the buys, where, because me, I don't know, I don't even expect deep retracement. I just expect price to do that short term buys immediately the week starts, and just push into that area where we will now start waiting for sell confirmation. But if we are going to rebalance very well, I expect price to also come back to this area and push up. And I think there's another
Who?
reason. There's another
Who?
reason.
Who be that?
Sorry, please mute up. All right. So another reason why I also favor this level is because this trend line, when you draw it, we can see that this trend line was holding. You understand? So when we resisted this trend line, alongside that, that's double confluence for the flip zone. Alongside this supply here, when we resisted that trend line and that supply, when price came down after sweeping some, if you go to your 30 minutes, you see that I swept some liquidity around here. You understand? This was the level after resisting the trend line and that supply, when price pushed down, that now got strength. Like I said, buyers came in at around this area to push price up, and we invalidated this trend line, invalidated that supply, and broke structure to the upside. So that is why this is also another area where I will be keeping my eyes for. If I see that price fall below that first level I identify. Yes, we still have this area around here, which is the most extreme level that started everything. But for now, if during the week I see reasons for us to retrace deep before we buy again to fill that second level, I will send an update. But for now, I don't see price coming down here. I don't see price coming down here for now. I don't see price coming down here for now. And because I believe that there is an urgency for gold to want to price in interest rate sales. And if there is an urgency, we should get immediate buys to the upside. The only thing that would make me say price can come back here is if we get news that escalates things. If we get news that continue escalating things, we might, instead of gold buying immediately, it will come back to rebalance very well from extreme level, because it would be looking to blast up. And it cannot blast off from these areas that don't have enough buy orders compared to this one here. You understand? Unless there is that scenario, which we don't have now. So I'm not considering it now. If there is, that's why we have midweek session. We will be looking for an update around there. Now, another reasons why this area is, I also looked at this area as a very strong area from where price can come back into deeply and continue buying to the upside, because it once acted as support. I remember when price was still here, when a lot of people were buying. Me too, I took some buys from here. And when we got that break, you can remember that sales we took. I don't know if you guys can remember where we sold from here. So this level has acted as a support level, turn resistance, and now it is from, if you compare to the recent price action, it acted as resistance again, and we have broken above it. We can expect that price will come back to that area and now give us confirmation and support for an extension to the upside. If we don't get that, if we continue getting a push down because of all this liquidity I also showed you guys here, which is all this trend line liquidity around here, then I will expect it to come back to this area, which initially continued the move that was started by this one. And so it was, like I said, this is the flip demand area that took out trend line, took out supply area that was supposed to hold. So if this level does not hold, my next I'll be keeping my eyes on this level next. Then when if price comes down and it invalidates this area, and I start getting more news why gold should sell, I would not expect this area to hold. But let's see. So I'm expecting buys from here or here based on confirmation. Then I expect those buys to extend into, don't forget the magnet area we currently have now. This 371 level to 374. They are about to fill in that imbalance and also take out previous weekly highs. That's what I can expect for gold. Then after taking that out, I would now wait to see If price will give confirmation from this supply and interest rate sales start kicking in back to those 3,200 levels that people have been waiting for. And I'm sure that many of them have switched their buyers to complete buys to 435 area. But I still believe, like I said, that gold should sell. So if you look at everything based on fundamentals, it aligns very perfectly. We are expecting a buy to sell scenario fundamentally due to why are we expecting buys? Tariffs are still ongoing, you understand? Even though it's not going to have much effect, it is still going to have its effect. Then interest rate effect, we expect it to come, which is the bigger picture for sales. So technically, you can say that those two scenarios align perfectly technically. So that this is what I'll be looking out for on gold next week. No stress. Is it clear? Is it clear? If it's clear for you, please just let me know. iPhone, who is iPhone? Any effects, very clear. All right. Okay. Okay, Anonymous says it's clear too. All right. So yeah, okay. That's what I'll be expecting on gold. And I think with for gold, that's that. Now let's move to BTC, yeah. Let's move to BTC. Let's see what BTC has for us. Now for Bitcoin, everybody already knows what has happened. Bitcoin has pushed up to the upside, and it has now made new all-time highs that we have been looking out for this past weeks. Now, Bitcoin is tricky because it has made new all-time highs. Everybody is happy. Yeah, me too. I was part of the people that was happy because it's history right in front of our eyes, 118, 19K. But as traders, you cannot allow the emotions that are on ground to get to you. Now, these are the fundamentals that relate to BTC. Before I continue, I need to ask again, is everyone following? Because for BTC, I need you guys to pay close attention. I think also in confluence with other crypto coins too. You understand? Because I know that a lot of people are already rushing into buys on Bitcoin. I was seeing that not just in Discord, but also online on social media. See that people are already looking for longs, and everything. But there's a catch to it. There's a catch to it. So now, from a fundamental perspective, don't forget when we were here, I kept on saying something. I said something strange is happening. Bitcoin, from a fundamental perspective and technical perspective, short term, I was expecting sales down to where these levels that we have looked at before for the past few weeks, this 95K, 93 to 95K area. You understand? I was expecting sales on BTC. And the reason why I even made my sell bias, what made my sell bias very solid is because tariffs has been going on for almost 3 weeks now. Yet, we have not seen the effect on Bitcoin. Tariff. Even before the deadline on Wednesday, Trump has been doing a lot of things. Tariffs, he has this past week, which is last week, and also towards the end of last week, he announced a lot of tariffs, which we looked at when we were talking about gold on South Africa, Canada, now Euro nation. Also, I just remembered, he also announced tariffs on copper. Copper is a natural resource too. A lot of things, but the fact that sellers tried their best, to push market down for a long period of time, means I was expecting sales from this area. We got this massive push to the upside. So do you know what that means? Firstly, sorry, from a fundamental perspective, if you look at if you look at tariffs, the effect of tariffs, the most recent tariffs, is yet to kick in. For gold, it has already started kicking in through the buys that we saw. But for Bitcoin, because usually tariffs should drive Bitcoin down, as we have seen over the past 6 months since when Trump entered position. But for this past week, last week, it has not been that case. Bitcoin still held its ground and continue pushing upwards. So it means that Bitcoin might have not priced in the effect of tariffs yet. And we are already getting impulsive push. You can see all these godlike candles to the upside. Now, that is one red flag about this move that has happened. Number two, interest rates. Interest rates is also something that's not looking good for BTC, because we said it in this area. BTC and gold, they are aligned, you understand, they correlate when it comes to interest rate decision, because interest rates, we are expecting that the Federal Reserve will not cut rates. Why? Because inflation is set to still be high, job data is still good. And the reason why inflation is sure people, the Federal Reserve have confidence that inflation will remain high is because of this same tariff. So both interest rates and tariffs are painting have been, or should I say it has been painting this picture that BTC has no reason to buy the way it bought. I've been saying this thing for years, that I don't see any reason why BTC should bypass this area. But we got the buys. Now that's another red flag. All the fundamentals relating to BTC for now is pointing towards sales, at least for the past 14 days that I know of. But BTC is still buying. And I said something in one of our sessions. I said it means that, sorry, that there are certain forces that are stacking large buy orders against, you know, against the sellers, and also overriding the fundamentals. And there was months ago, I highlighted this in Discord when Bitcoin made all time highs. I said something like, everybody is selling BTC. BTC has pushed towards sell areas, but still yet institutions were buying aggressively, and this is the effect. It took 2 months, but this is the effect of, at least from here. Yes, from here. That's the effect of institutional order flow. Their purchasing power. You can see how powerful it is, that no matter how it looks like, if they want something, they will get it. And it got that push to the upside. Now everybody is shouting 120K. We have not yet gotten to 120K on the spot market, but futures market has gotten there. Everybody is now shouting 150K and so on and so forth. Now, let us remove emotions from Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm also going to say another thing that is going to affect Bitcoin this coming week. If you remove emotions, you will know that still yet the actual fundamentals which should move the market has not still been priced in. Those sales that were expecting to happen has not happened. The reverse happened. So to me, this thing that we are seeing here is an overextension. And it means that we are currently in danger areas. The reason why I highlighted from 17 to 121K, if you use Fibonacci reverse extension to, you will see that we should get some resistance around 121K. So what am I saying? We are in danger zone to me. Why? Because these fundamentals have not been priced in, and they must price in sooner or later. And I feel like what has happened is going to be, yes, I know. I have also been the one saying that long term, what will happen in Bitcoin and crypto is going to shock everybody, which we are seeing. People are already shocked. 117K, you understand? I still believe we are going to get those, higher push to the other side. The 150 people are talking about. But the question is when. And when you ask the question when, from a fundamental perspective and data we have, I don't see it happening now. I would be surprised if it does, but I don't see it happening now. This thing that has happened is a candle that will bring in a lot of FOMO into this market. As I'm talking to you, I heard that over $500 billion have entered into crypto markets since this thing happened. $500 billion, that's a lot. People have started FOMO. A lot of people have started buying from the top. Zoom out from the top. They are buying out of nowhere that has a support, a demand area. They are just buying. Now, why is this also danger? Next week, this week that we have just entered, there's going to be a major announcement. And the announcement is going to be from the secretary of, I've forgotten the position in the US, and they are going to be announcing something in relation to strategic reserves for USA, because USA, they are trying to accumulate Bitcoin. We spoke about this months ago where we said that there is a global race for the country that will hold the most Bitcoin. If you hold the most Bitcoin, you automatically become the leading power, just like we have US dollars, leading world reserve currency. So if you have most of the supply, everybody will dance to your tune because you can manipulate the markets, right? Now, next week, they are going to make an announcement concerning that. Do you know that it was when the news came out that, okay, they are going to make an announcement relating to the Federal Reserve, which is a big news for BTC. Why? Because it means that there's going to be a lot of buying coming into the market. If US says that they want to become number one holder of most of the supply of BTC, it means that they're going to spend billions to buy. And if they're going to spend billions to buy Bitcoin, then obviously it will drive price up in the long-term run because other countries will also want to buy. And this will lead into a ripple effect where all the nations are trying to buy Bitcoin. Russia, El Salvador, USA, North Korea, they don't buy, they steal. Those ones are not normal. And other nations, you understand? So that is a competition and it will drive BTC up, just the way gold is driven upwards when investors rush into it. Yes. Now, on the announcement of that event that's going to hold this week, Bitcoin fly based on rumor. Yes, the rumor is confirmed now. It was confirmed on Saturday. But just based on that, BTC has already, it has scattered to the upside. They have not announced to just because they say that the event is holding next week, BTC has fly to the upside. Now, this reminds me of 2023 bearish markets. Are we short-term bullish? Was it 2023 or 2022? One of them. Now, there was something similar. The first time that USA sat down and they said that, okay, do you know what? Bitcoin. We want to look at how we can put regulations in place for Bitcoin so that in the future, as at that time, they've not thought of reserves, but in the future, they can consider having a Bitcoin reserve. That news too, as at that time, it cost all-time highs. I think it was 60 something K thereabouts. Yeah, and it cost all-time highs, sha. You understand? Just from the rumor of that news, because it means that the US is considering adding regulations so that they too can participate. Now, what happened was that when they made the announcement that time, the week that they were supposed to do the event, this is where it now got funny. That week, normally, when you just look at it, if they make the announcement, they say everything, it should continue blasting Bitcoin to the upside. But what happened, I can never forget, it was the opposite. Bitcoin sold heavily that week. So what happened was that before that week, just like we are seeing now, just like we are seeing with this move now, Bitcoin priced in the announcements. So when that week came, that they did the actual announcement, instead of Bitcoin to buy, because everybody already started stacking buys, because they already know that they were announcing, Bitcoin started selling heavily. It did the opposite. So it sold heavily to discount areas, then later on continued buying because of the news. Now, they say history does not repeat itself. I've said this thing before, but it has patterns. Everything I'm saying, I'm not just saying it. I'm saying it because of data I have and the experience I've had with this particular pair. Now, coincidentally, the same format. Announcement to come out next week. Bitcoin has already done the flying before the announcement. Now, next week is coming. Everybody's already shouting that once they announce that thing, go to Twitter. Just go and check Twitter. Bitcoin 150, 200K, and so on and so forth. Don't forget, if you remove emotions, we still have bad fundamentals for now. You understand? We still have bad fundamentals for now. Bitcoin is yet to still come back to a solid discount area to buy from. It is just buying based on rumors, based on announcement, based on this, and those are liquid moves. There's no reasoning behind it. There's no real should I say data backing those moves. So that is why I am saying be careful. If you are even day trading it, if you are taking buys from here, targeting, let me go to 30 minutes time frame. If you are taking buys within everything happening here, just stop for now. Stop. You understand? It's like a warning, because even though it does not happen, it's better to be on the safe side. Do not buy Bitcoin from here. Anything happening here should not be your concern. Wait for price to rebalance, because I can see a black swan event coming in. I will not be surprised. See, it should not. Yes, we can get extension. Like I said, the extension tool shows that we might get even to 122K, but I'm looking at 121K, but it is tentative. Don't be surprised if next week now you just see this happen aggressively. Now it looks so impossible that it cannot happen, but I will not be surprised, because that time it shocked me too. And when it happened that time, I went to check back and I saw that similar kind of patterns has happened in the past before. 2018 bearish market, something like this happened too. So you have to be careful if you are part of the people that are buying, selling within all this range. You have to, because at any time you can see a spike that will just wipe you out. So you have to be very careful. You are trading in no man's land. You should not be interested in buying anything from here unless price comes back here. You understand? I'm not even saying that this area is a key area, but let's just imagine it's a support area. So unless price is coming back to this level and giving good structure for buys, you should not be buying from here. Should not be buying here. You should not be bothering yourself with that until you see reasons why it is now valid, until price has dropped down. Because this one that everybody is expecting it next week, these guys, they don't make it so easy for people. So you should be careful for taking longs now on Bitcoin. And don't forget, it has happened in the past. And I would not be surprised if it happens again. You understand? Even if we get a push upwards, I will not be surprised if we get something like this again before this. Because some people have their emotions have clouded their head to the extent that they don't even believe Bitcoin will go back to 100K. They just believe it will go to 136. Where's 150? 150. They are not looking at the market logically again. You understand? And don't forget, Seth, I showed you guys this setup where price will make a break of structure. Instead of it to retrace back to the extreme demand, it stops halfway and it impulses. Then it now comes down and continuing the move. What can we see here? We can see that price broke structure, caused the impulse that caused the previous all-time highs. We traced halfway, we have not mitigated an impulse. So will you be surprised if you see something like this happen? And you know that I told you guys that this is one of my most trusted models that I've been trading. I would not be surprised if something like this happened. So you have to be very careful. Yes, I'm supposed to be positive. It has made me, I'm positive long term. But what happens in the next 1 week or 2 weeks? I don't think the way everybody will just buy and it will be easy to go up. No, no, no. I don't see that happening. For altcoins, it's different. My perspective is different. You understand? Even altcoins, as much as they are rising, XRP, Solana, Edera, Adana, Avax, and the rest, I still expect some little bit of bleeding due to BTC dominance before they fly. And this is the perfect way that alt season can start. If we get a push down, BTC dominance will drop further. Then when we start pushing upwards, coins like Ethereum and XRP, they will skyrocket 10 times faster than BTC, and that will start the alt season. So you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful if you are buying from here. It's like me sending an open warning to Forexlyfe members. Be very careful if you are trading here. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. So for Bitcoin, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to take any trades. I'm not looking at any buys or sells and everything. I want to see what that event will do to BTC next week. And based on what it does, we'll know what next will happen. And yes, don't forget, interest rates, tariffs are still pushing towards sales. You understand? So that's something that you should keep your eyes out for on Bitcoin. Just be very careful of buying. Is that clear? If it's clear, please just you can send a message, you can identify. So can you guys hear me? Oh, say I know they talk to myself since. All right, so yes, so just be careful, looking for, even if we are going to consider buys, let's wait for price to come back to this area, or better still, a deep retracement back down. But for now, I'm not interested in anything happening here. I'm far from interested in anything happening here. All right, so that's all on Bitcoin. Then for euro, for euro. Now, for Euro USD, somebody asked a question, Adekunle. I don't know if he's still here, but he asked a question. He said, how are all these fundamentals going to affect Euro USD? Now, this is it. Euro USD, just like BTC, GU, and the rest, I expect it to remain short-term bearish, like it has been. But yes, we might get buys. You understand? There's something funny happening with you based on their interest, their own interest rates, but I can't discuss that now. But when I look at what is happening to US dollar, and since euro is trading against US dollar, the reason why I'm saying maybe sales, maybe even long term or medium term, short term, medium term, before we see buys, or maybe some little bit of buys, because we look at it from a technical perspective to be sure. Then we now see the sales, is because number one, interest rate. If the US dollar, if they don't cut interest rates, it makes US is going to strengthen the USD. The way it's going to strengthen USD against gold and BTC, that's how it's going to strengthen USD against euro and G. Why? Because if your interest rate is still high, you understand, because currently the interest rate of the US dollar is a bit high, you understand, and that's why Trump is trying to say, okay, cut it, but there's still no reason to cut. Now, if it is high, this is how it makes your currency strong. There are what we call bonds. You understand, like government investment scheme. Then we have treasury bills, which is another government investment scheme. You understand? And these things that we call bonds and treasury bills, they are direct, should I say, they are assets. Should I say assets, or just the way you have things you invest in to bring you money? That is how these things work. Now, what makes a treasury bill or bonds lucrative, or should I say attractive to investors? It is when they have good interest on the return of investments. They can promise good interest on the return of investments for investors. And what do I mean by that? And what do I mean by that? Yeah. What do I mean by that? Now, this is it. You guys should follow with me. Why is this guy calling now? You guys should follow with me, because I want you guys to learn something now on why this interest rate always makes USD very important before we go deep into EU. You understand? So this is it. We have bonds, we have treasury bills. Yeah. Now, if interest rate is high, it means that, like I said, interest rates, the higher it is, the better it is for that currencies, bonds, and treasury bills. Why is it better for them? Number one, it means that if me as an investor invest in government bonds, 401k, that's also another kind of bond in the US, or their treasury bills, it means that I will get high interest return on it. So if the country's interest rate is around 4% or higher, which the US dollar is around 4.25 to 4.50%, it means that anybody that invests from outside country and everything, they will gain good money on their investments. They will get a 4% interest, guaranteed interest or profit on their investment. And that means that the US dollar will strengthen. Now, why will the US dollar strengthen? Number one, to buy those bonds, to buy those treasury bills. Don't forget, it is US that owns the bonds and it is US that owns the treasury bills. So to buy it, you have to use US dollar. So if the interest rate is high and you are attracted to the US dollar bonds and treasury bills, which is bonds, let's say this is treasury bills, this bond, it means that you have to now buy US dollar. You have to go through this guy here. This will be the exchange. If you are investing from UK, you come here, you will pass through here. When you pass through here, your UK pounds will turn dollars, and you will now buy and invest in those treasury bonds and those bonds and treasury bills. Now that means that you'll be purchasing more dollars, and if you are purchasing more dollars, it means that there will be a lot of inflow. In the economy, there's what we call outflow and inflow. You understand, in an economy, and most of the time we prefer, even that's what is killing Nigeria. We don't have a lot of inflow of foreign currencies, foreign investment. A country usually thrives on foreign investment, foreign inflows. You understand? So for the Federal Reserve, where the US dollar is now even the world reserve currency, it makes it times two better. They don't just get foreign investment, they also get this kind of ripple effect where it looks like other currencies are coming for our currency. So it now makes the US dollar more valuable. And as it's making the US dollar more valuable, it's also making their bonds times two valuable too. So that is the effect of interest rates on countries like USD and JPY and so on. Yes, so this means that I just saw Kismin question. So this means that if they don't cut rates, which we are expecting to happen, if they don't cut rate during July, pairs against EU and against USD like EU and GU might sell off short term. So that is what will happen, because the USD will be strong based on this investment that will be flowing in and based on their interest rate. And now what's even making it worse is that pairs like GBP, pound sterling, and euro, they are cutting their own interest rates. They've been cutting their interest rate for the past 2 months, but USD has not even cut once. So they are weakening their own currency against US dollar sef. Sure, you understand? So that is why, from a fundamental perspective, the thing is that I don't know if it's going to be for a long period of time or short period of time, but it is clear that we are going to see sales on EU and GU, and it might have already started pricing it in, because EU and GU has been selling for the past week, if not 2 weeks. Funny enough. So, and I told you that usually it prices in the effect of the news before that day. So we might have already started seeing those sales kicking in. You can see G, you see the way G has been selling. I can tell you that I will not be surprised if it has already started pricing in that news, so that when that time comes, when the news comes out, it doesn't sell too much. It might still sell a little, but it will now buy. It's possible. That's how interest rate works. So I am sure that with this explanation, you now understand how this interest rates really affects the strength of the USD against other pairs. Is it clear? Before we go deep into the analysis, for the analysis will be very fast.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, apart from you, Kiss, I want to be sure, because this is something new that I'm explaining in details. I want to be sure that it's clear for every other person. iPhone, is it clear? If you can speak up, we would love that. Then Adekunle,
Yeah,
Benedict.
yeah, it's clear.
All right, okay. So just note that down. I think with that knowledge, anytime I speak about interest rates, you guys would understand naturally. So now that we know that interest rates issue can, kick come in at any time, don't forget that for the past few years I've been saying something. I said EU has overextended. You understand? Same thing with GU. In short, GU is at a very critical supply area where it's currently selling from. EU is also, when you look at it from a monthly perspective, we are also at a very critical area, an area that has acted as resistance support before in the past, and we have been in this area, which is also aligned with our Fibonacci level. You understand? Premium areas. Although I still favor the higher supply areas around here, which I still feel, that's why I said that the sales might happen, but I don't know for how long it will last. We might still get maybe extension on EU. But for now, I'm actually still bearish on GU or and EU, just short term. Just short term. So EU has been in these areas, these premium levels, monthly premium levels for some time, but we have still been extending. Now let's see how the daily is looking like, to be sure if okay we are still going to get short-term buys or sells to the upside. So what I could see on EU is that apart from this trend line that we have here, we have this trend line here showing us that we have been buying and we are still bullish from a 4-hour perspective or higher structural perspective. We can see that price has been pushing upwards. Then we've been getting multiple breaks of structure to the upside. So we got this break, although price did not come back to this demand area. You understand? It just continued pushing upwards. Then we came back, we tested this trend line, and we continue pushing upwards. Now, why this retest is important is because internal structure wise, we got something like this. This was a resistance area. This was a resistance area, if I'm not mistaken, as at the time price was here. Then we got a very good break above that area, which also took out this high here. You understand? Now, there are a lot of things I would want to point out, but I'm just trying to be fast because of time. So we got a break above this level and also this high here. So when we got that break on the retest, we were expecting three things. Now, this becomes our strong internal because this is where the internal, if you go to 1 hour, I don't just want to drop down now because I'm trying to be fast, like I said. We've done a lot of fundamental explaining. If we go down to the 1 hour time frame, we see that from this level, price pushed upwards and we broke structure to the upside. You understand? This is the last internal structure because this is the main daily level that caused the buyer's ball. This is the internal level. This is one of the internal level that caused impulse to take out this resistance area and also that high. So we have this internal strong low that pushed price up to break structure. And on the retest, price was not just retesting the discount level, which is the demand level of that internal swing. Let's go to the 1 hour so that we'll just see this thing clearly once and for all. So if you go to the 1 hour's time frame, you see it push, break of structure, invalidation of, let's use the 2 hour, invalidation of resistance level. If you feed from this low to this high, you see that we have good discount level, which was also aligned with that resistance area that later turned support. And we actually retested and got another extension to the upside. So this swing has finished its structural wave. We got another new push to the upside to start a new structural wave. Now, this is the next break from the reaction from this level. And now we have this latest internal, or should I say, internal swing structure that push price up on the retest of that, not just demand and trend line, which are two confluences, also the strong resistance turn support level that push price up, and we got this break of structure. This is the last level. After the retest of that area, this is the last low that push price up. So what does that mean? If we zoom back after the completion of this previous wave, we have this new swing structural wave to work with. So this is our swing low, most recent swing low, swing high, swing break of structure, and our weak swing high here. Understand? So we have this structure that we have to play with now. Now this is it. This is what I am seeing on EU. If we focus let's take out that monthly this thing. If we focus just on this structure, first of all, don't forget we are still bullish. Price is yet to rebalance all this area. We have a lot of imbalance on EU, to be honest. We have a lot of imbalance on EU. Well, let's leave these areas down. So now what can we see happening? We have this happening, yeah? Bullish order flow. from a main structure pass, we have something like this. You understand, happening on EU. Now, this is our most recent structure that we can work with. Now, after a break of structure, an impulsive break, what do I always tell you guys? According to the structural wave, after the impulse wave, yeah, you understand, after the impulse wave to the upside, the next wave we'll be looking at is the retracement wave. And how we know that the retracement wave is going to hold is when the internal structure of that swing, the internal structure of that swing structure switches bearish. Now, let's look at it. We got impulse break. After we broke this level, we got continuous impulse where we saw price push. You can see this last sell to buy candle. So that was the demand area. Price pushed down, respected that demand, pushed up, break again, pushed down, respected, pushed up. So you expect that price should come and respect this most recent demand around here, right? You expect something like that. But what happened? Price invalidated that area. Can you see that? So immediately I saw this when I was analyzing, I think that was yesterday. I saw the break of this area because now you can see that this is the main structure we are looking at, which is in line with this trend line we can see. You understand? But and the internal structure, when you zoom in, let's go to the 2 hour. When you zoom in, you see that the internal structure of this swing structure was also bullish, aligning. Now we were seeing alignments where price was just bullish, aligned with our overall 4 hour structure bullish narrative. But now that alignment has switched bearish. So now we are no longer having alignment within this internal structure and the main structure. So we can say that the internal structure has switched bearish. Why? Because this bullish order flow internally has been invalidated and demand has also failed. You understand? So this low has been taken out that should have held, and this demand has failed. So from an internal structure perspective, we are bearish. The only thing I don't like about this is this liquidity, this fuel that we are building, which is something similar to what we saw on gold. That's the only thing I don't like about this internal structure. You understand? Like taking sales, you understand? But from a structural perspective, we are bearish internally and still overall bullish. So this is a key level that we'll be expecting price to come back to. We'll get back to this area. So I'll show you guys where I'm expecting sales from. This is a key level that we'll expect price to come back to anytime soon if we are going to get extension buys. And I will not be surprised, like I said, if you see those sales happen because of interest rates that they might not cut. If a news come out and actually shows, don't forget, I told you guys something about if Powell resigns, which is the Federal Reserve chairman, it means that they will not cut interest rates. If they don't cut interest rates, that Bitcoin can continue flying, gold can continue flying, and also EU can continue flying. But until we get confirmation of that news, we are still bearish. You understand? I just even remember that. So main structure is bullish. Now, if you flip from this swing guy, you see that we have our discount levels around here. If you want to extend, you can extend the most should I say discount area,
You
buy
said
to
they don't
sell
cut
candles.
the interest.
Sorry, sell to buy candles. Is this network? So can you guys hear me?
Yes, I wanted to ask a question.
I'm coming. Let me just wrap up. So we have this sell to buy aligned with the discount areas. Now we also have this key area here too. Why is it key? 0.5 level, we have demand below it. Anything below 0.5 level, which is equilibrium level, is also seen as what? As discount areas. Not that it is not the most extreme, but as long as we have this demand below that 0.5 level, it is also a discount level, which is aligned with the trend lines. And also, you can also say price resisted it because we saw weak rejections from this area. Then we finally broke above it. So it's also a support area. So we have this level, we have these levels around here that we expect price to get to. Now, why is everything now making sense? This is how it's making sense. Even though we're going to get buys, better buys, when I mean good buys, I mean buys that can move the market, we might still see sales because we're yet to tap into equilibrium level of this swing structure here. I will align it, I will highlight it again. Can hit equilibrium and also premium levels. You understand? So we have key levels here. We have key levels here. We have imbalance here to be filled, which is magnet area that I love a lot. We have imbalance around there. If you zoom in, see it very well. We have was it on 2 hour, 1 hour? It should be clearer there. Yeah, so we have imbalance around these areas, and we also have this level that has not yet been tapped in. We've got the break above, which is also aligned with our trend line. And don't forget the most extreme level here. So one thing is for sure, we are surely going to get retracement into this level very well, or this level in the next few weeks or so. But for now, we expect sales because the internal structure is still not aligned with the swing structure in terms of the trend. So if we go to the 1 hour, where can I look to take sales for? Now that we've gotten invalidation of demand and invalidation of this low, if I want to take sales, I really don't like all these, all these things that is here. But let's just look at it. So we have this high, took out this low, a pushback, a sweep of liquidity. Now that I've seen this sweep of liquidity, this makes this area around there my first POI. So we have that sweep of liquidity, then a push down. This is the last high. So this is one of the major highs that push back down to take out this second low. So we have something like this break. Sorry for my drawings. Another break here. Then this last break, what I love about this break here is that it did not just take out that low, it took out the demand and it broke that internal strong low, because this is the last internal strong low that caused that bullish move to the upside. So we took out this low and this demand. So it means that this supply that swept liquidity is actually something to keep your eyes for. And this could be liquidity, that could drive, maybe for those sales, we can see something. Sorry, we can see something like this. You understand? But let's wait first. After that break and that invalidation of demand, we got a retracement, price pushed down, price pushed up again, swept all the liquidity around there, took out liquidity around there, and we tapped into, I'm supposing, this area here, and we got another push, and we got a break. So this level was also trying to act as support. If you open your eyes, you see it was trying to act as support, and price broke below that level, and we got another break of structure around there. So you can also identify that. So if we identify this high also swept liquidity, although there's no liquidity above it like this one here, but we can say that this push upwards to sweep all this liquidity and push downward to invalidate the remaining part of that supply. That support area also makes this area around here valid. You understand? And so we have a supply area around this area here. Now, this is what happened. I sent sales earlier this week. You understand? And towards the ending of this week, where it took sales from exactly this rejection. They say. Now, the reason why I took sales was because of the fact that I knew that we had imbalance here. And also this level that I said that price is likely to come back to. Then Trump also slammed EU with tariffs. You understand? Slammed EU with tariffs, which would affect the euro currency. That news came out around here, and I saw this nice buy to sell candle around there. So what I said is that yes, I knew that this level was the most extreme level, yeah, that I should wait for, since it's this level, that last level, to sweep all this liquidity into this area. So I knew that we had a supply here, but there was also a supply here. And there's one thing I like that I always trade. If you guys know me, I love trading the PO3. So one thing I saw was that price retraced back to this area. It actually retraced back to this area, but it left liquidity and pushed back down. And when it pushed back down, it failed to take out this sell side liquidity around here. You understand? So when I saw that, and I saw the news and everything that was coming out, I just said, okay, if I see a push up to sweep this supply, this Asian liquidity into this area, and I get a candlestick confirmation like rejection or change of character, I'm going to take sales. And that's why I sent sales on Thursday or Friday, which has already started, as you can see. and is currently in profit. So what am I expecting EU to do? I expect EU to continue selling. You understand? Market can open and come back up to come for these extreme levels, but I doubt. I believe that markets will open and take out that Asia low liquidity alongside sell side liquidity into this imbalance area before maybe we now get a reaction that can cause retracement and continuation into deeper levels like this. So this is what I can see on EU. I see EU continue selling from where it's already. You can see the big rejection on the 2-hour time frame. I don't see a conservative retracement back into this area very well. I still believe that we will sell first, maybe get a buy back up to take out that weak high into that supply area, then further sells into this level, which I will now be waiting to see if we can get confirmation for an actual push up, then continuation to the downside, or price will just continue selling back to this area we have here. Now, another tricky thing is that the moment price takes out this low and also breaks below this trend line, it is going to mean that the moment we get a break below that trend line, it is a very, very big signal that even though later on we get pushed back up, we are likely to see sales because this trend line has been holding for the longest of time. We've gotten one touch, two touch, we are around the third touch now. So if we get a break below and close below, this is just a long-term forecast. If we get a break below this area and close below, it is signaling a deeper push down to this demand here. But I'm going to leave that for when we see price progress. So for now, what I just want you guys to look out for is we might just continue seeing sales like this. Understand? We might just continue seeing sales until we mitigate deeper into this area. And if we mitigate deeper into this area, price continues pushing down, then we might still continue seeing sales until we now get into this level, which will determine if we see a push back up or not. So I will keep you guys updated on EU because for EU, the scenarios are a lot and I don't want to start listing all of them. It takes too much time. So I'll just continue sending updates just like I do on gold and BTC. So you guys should just stay active on EU. But for the earliest part of the week, I believe that this my trade should smash, take profit, and it should come and at least fill the imbalance area around this level. But I'm already on break even on this trade. So yeah, so that's why I'll be keeping my eyes on EU. Okay, Adekunle says he has the same bias on EU. That's good to hear. It's good to know that you also have the same bias on Euro USD. So yeah, that's what I'll be keeping my eyes on for Euro USD. Any questions? Okay, Kiss Me said I already answered his questions in my explanations. Okay, so what about every other person? Because I noticed that it's only Adekunle, NFX, and Kiss Me that has been active. No questions from my end. You can carry on to the next. Okay. So I'm guessing it's clear for you. Banky Boy, iPhone. iPhone doesn't want to speak up. And Bethel and every other person. I'm guessing it's also clear. And also Marita too. Okay, so yeah. Yes, so don't worry. You don't even still have to stress yourself, yeah? I will keep you guys updated. I'm active. I'm very much active on the chat. So if anything, if there is any major movement, or let me just say development, I will also still update you guys on Discord. Yeah. So somebody said we should glance through EU. Okay, I mean GU, sorry. GU, the same fundamentals applies for EU to GU, the same thing. GU might be even worse because their GDP came out very bad last month. This month, yeah, last month's results came out very bad. And also their trade balance, which is international trade data, is also looking, but it seems like tariffs has affected GU a lot. So if you look at GU here, if you go to the monthly, I'm going to be fast with GU because it's not something to take time on. We are still very much bearish. We are still very much bearish on GBP USD. Now, from a monthly perspective, so you can see that we're at discounts, premium, we're at premium levels. Sorry. Yeah, so you can see that we're at premium level. So if you go to the weekly time frame on GBP USD, what you will see is that we have just like EU, we just took out a liquidity, although EU did not take out any liquidity, but we just took out a liquidity and we have tapped into a very nice supply area that I favor so well. And I don't know if I have the time to show you guys why I favor that supply area that we have tapped into. You can see the nice rejection from that area. And price has started selling heavily. Actually, this was part of my setups that I forgot to take last 2 weeks. And it still pains me till now. It's already up almost 300 pips. Yeah. So price has swept liquidity into that nice supply area that took out structure. Now, from a monthly perspective, we are reacting from a major key level on GBP USD. Now, let's see what daily is showing us. Daily, what can we see? So if you look at the first thing you will obviously see is that we have been respecting this nice trend line, which could be invalidated this coming week. You understand? So why do I say so? We got this push up, we got a price to out structure, we traced push up, price to out structure again. Yeah, so we can see that price has taken out these two structures. Let's delve deep into the into lower time frame. So if you look at it from a 4-hour perspective, now there's something that I want to show you guys. Don't forget that there was a time where we were taking buys from here. I don't know if you guys can remember. Now we might be looking at these areas again as key levels. Why? Let me explain this. This is the last level. I'll go back to the trend line and everything. Level to push price up to break structure. You understand that took out that high. And we remember that price came down, we got a sweep of liquidity. All the demands here were already mitigated. I don't know if I have time to show you guys all those things again. For those that always attend our sessions, all these demands here, they have been mitigated. You can see any break, you get retracement, break, retracement, just like that. Then we swept this liquidity here into this area. As at that time, this was weeks ago. We swept liquidity into that level where we now got the first impulsive buys that took out this high. So I said something, I said price is yet to come back to this. Very correct. Adekunle, you remember, thank God. So we said it that price is yet to come back to those key levels, yeah? Price is yet to come. As at that time, we were saying that I was showing you guys that I was waiting for price to come back to this demand area. That was when we just got this break before all these other shenanigans happened. Yeah, I was expecting that price would come back to sweep that liquidity into this area and we get the extension to the upside. But did that happen? No, that did not happen. Price just we respected this trend line. You can see the way it wicked rejected from that trend line. For if you look at it very well, and we got another push to the upside. So price is yet to actually to this area. Now, let us link it with what's happening now. Now, don't forget, before I continue, I showed you guys that setup where we get a major break and price fails to come to the actual demand that starts that major break and it retraces halfway here, then push up to break structure. And in the process, what will it do? We expect that price will now come down back. And as price is coming down, people will start looking for buys from this area. When they start looking for buy area, little do they know that that would be inducement. Why? Because it is not the most extreme level, and this is the most extreme level that we should be looking at, which is this particular wave. I told you guys I love it because most of the times when you see it printing, it usually happens and it usually respects it. very, very well. The same thing on BTC USD. Yes, Adekunle. Now we can see that the same thing is happening here. You understand? Now I know a lot of people are expecting buys from here. I know. Based on just normal break of structure, you'll be expecting buys from this demand area because this last area on paper, like just by looking at it, is the last area that pushed price up. It also even swept liquidity as at that time, then pushed up to break structure to tap into that supply where we are now having supply force against this current demand. Now, so you'll be expecting the price to come back here and buy, right? Yeah. The thing is that price can enter here and buy a little. You can even enter here and buy a little, yes. But I doubt that it will do something like this to take out this next high. And I believe that what is currently happening on GU long term, because we are still somewhere around there, is something like this inducement into this level, reaction from this demand to push price back into this area, which I believe can continue pushing price down. Because from a fundamental perspective, we are bearish. We have swept liquidity into, we have swept this liquidity into that monthly supply level reacted from. We have this supply area around here. I will show you guys. Don't worry, I will show you guys. So if we're even going to get good buys, I don't believe that those major buys to push price back up into 1.375 level will start from this level. I know people will be looking at this level, but I feel like you will be looking at the wrong area and you should be keeping your eyes here. And even this level, sir, you have to be careful because we are reacting from a weekly supply. So if you go back to 4 hour now, like I said, you see the schematics I drew here. That's exactly what is happening here. You can see it break, push, fail to mitigate, push up, break. We have not mitigated here. All eyes on this area. Possible inducements that you should keep your eyes on. Now, what am I expecting on GU? Don't forget, fundamentally, GU for the now is bearish, and plus interest rates is even more bearish. You understand? GU trade balance is bad. GU's GDP came out bad. Different things are coming out bad for GU. And GU already started selling before this news came out. So I believe it's already starting to price in the effect of those news before the news even came out this past week. Now, what am I expecting on GU? I expect sales to the downside. Then we'll come into this level. We might get a reaction back. Then maybe to a supply area, which is this area or this one here. Then a further push to this demand level, which I believe can now cause major buys to this supply, which I expect price to continue from. Now, don't forget that the moment price starts coming down, even though we get buys from here later on, the moment price starts coming down, it will take out this value trend line. So this is another confluence that will give us more confidence that this high here has a lot of supply power. So obviously this week we are going to take out this trend line, which we add to the first. This will be the first indication that we are looking at long-term sales in the next few, this unless the demand power from here takes out this supply power, this supply area. I believe that once we take out this trend line, we take out this low here because we also have this low. This is like the last low to push price up. Then this level, I will just call this demand level a reaction demand area that price can react from and continue buying from. So short term, I still expect sales. You can already see that price is still printing bearish. You understand? So I will not be surprised if price comes back to areas around there based on how the price reacts from this demand. So let's imagine we continue selling. I'll not be surprised if price comes back to areas around here, then gives confirmation to now finally fill this level into this area, which will now maybe we'll still see more retracement, then sells into this area, which I expect alignment from. Then maybe a deeper retracement back up. But whatever happens from here, we'll look at it later on. Is this just going to be a forecast where I expect price to come back there and maybe continue that sales? But the major thing is that for now, I expect GBP USD to continue selling until we take out this trend line completely and close below it from on a 4 hour, yes. need 4-hour break, close, and also take out this demand level. But don't forget, this demand level can cause some sort of reactions before we get that final break. So yes, around this area we are currently in, I am expecting something like this. I did not even know that we're already taking out here. This would have been a nice trade if any of you caught it. Where price broke retest and is already selling. Understand? So with the way EMG is selling aggressively, I still hope we can get one more, retracement around this area before the sell. So just like EU, we have areas below that we expect price to sell to. So we might see price just do something like this on GU, or then yes, then a little reaction, then continuation, then yeah, this particular area I expect alignment, then I expect a relief bullish push, a really bullish confirmation to now start an internal bullish push to the upside, where we will now start looking at this area when price gets here to see if we can get confirmation. But if the news, because EU's fundamental and GU's fundamental is so bad that it's far more worse than what's the name than EU. So if it's too much, it can even take out this level. And if it takes out all these levels here before retracing, be confident that whenever we get that retracement, it's going to be large sales because we have these imbalances that has not been filled on GU. So just like EU, as the week develops, I will send setups if I see any. But for now, we can keep our eyes on gold and EU. You understand? EU already have a very nice sell running. I sent that one on Friday. And we can just keep our eyes on that one and look at how to add more position before the sales round up. Then we also keep our eyes on GU. If I see anything on GU, I'll let you guys know and I will send it to the Discord. So we'll just be, I think for this week, because I'm going to just be watching VTC from the sidelines. I would prefer to keep my eyes on GU, gold, and EU, and which is gold, EU, and GU. Yeah, those three pairs. So if there are any developments, I will also let you guys know this coming week. So is that clear? All right, so I can see some comments saying that it is clear. Adekunle, you took some trades on G and it hits TP. Nice. It's good to know that you're already even following up. All right, so yeah, that's all for today's analysis session. Yeah, nice sales, I can tell, because it's looking good now. Very nice sales that anybody should have taken advantage of. So yeah, it's good to know that everybody's on board. I love the fact, I want to encourage you guys. I love the fact that most of us we are active, yeah. We are active. I've been seeing it that these days everybody's active. Better, any Adekunle. I don't know who iPhone is. I feel like someone that I also
You
know.
don't know me. I'm just always just here. I just come time to time for the analysis, but I'm actually everywhere. I just
All
like to
right.
just watch. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So it's nice to have you with
Maybe you
us.
should
So
try to
yeah,
change your name from iPhone and put your name or something you can refer you with.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that.
all right. So
Okay.
yeah,
Let us know your name now.
What?
Let us know your name now. We can't be calling you iPhone.
Oh, sorry. Okay, my name is Oyi. Oyi. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll change it now. Thank you.
All right, no problem. So
All right,
yeah,
so when are we going to have our live class?
the class should hold this week. Market is doing important things. So maybe the next week, Wednesday, yeah. I would want us to do analysis session on Wednesday. I would want us to do analysis session on Wednesday because
Okay.
of the recent happenings in the market. I don't want you guys to. Yes, I know you guys can do it on your own, but I just put it in my mind. I told Prof. Was it Prof or no? It was not Prof. I think I told someone that I'm going to carry you guys, even with my personal trades. If you notice these days, I carry you guys along with the trades I'm taking, so that you guys can also be in line with the market. So I don't want us to lose that flow. You understand? Especially coming into this week. So I'm going to continue. We are going to do analysis session this week. And I want us to just stay active. I love the energy within the Discord. I love the fact that everybody is active and focused. And I want it to continue that way. For the class, we'll schedule a date, maybe next week, Wednesday, or the weekend next week. We'll talk about that. Yeah. So that's for that. Adekunle says,
Okay, sir.
we all define money. Thanks to you for putting constant efforts, putting us on. You're welcome, you're welcome, you're welcome. See, the thing is, I want everybody to win. I love seeing it. I always tell Marita this thing. I love it when in the Discord, everybody's sharing their results. Everybody's active. Everybody, is putting in efforts. Everybody's showing progress. You understand? So for my own end, if I can do anything to continue to make sure that consistency continues, then I'll continue doing it. Yeah. So that's just it at Deeply. So I think with that being said, we can wrap up for today. And I pray that this week, I pray that this week favors us and is also a fruitful week for us all. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. So yeah, we can call it a day today.
Thank
All
you,
right, have a nice
Harrison.
day. Have a nice new week. Rather.
Okay, I think, sorry, hold on. I just remembered now. So, good evening, everyone. Sorry, very quick one before we quickly go. Thank you so much for the detailed session, Harrison. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. We really appreciate you. God bless you. Right. Yeah. So to everyone, sorry, we could not have the psychology session on Friday. I think Harrison already did that announcement on why we couldn't have it. And this week, there's also going to be the class is still going to be holding. Forexlyfe is currently holding a beginner's class for new people. So that class is also going to be holding this Friday, almost about the same time we usually have our psychology sessions. So we may need to reschedule maybe before Friday this week. I'll speak with Harrison so we know when we can have the session, because I think even till next week, the session is still going to be holding. The online class for the new students will still be holding. So if we don't have the sessions, it's going to be like, okay, maybe for a whole month, we won't have the sessions. And then I think the sessions are also very important. So we'll look for a way around it. Maybe we may have the session earlier before the online class students have their own classes in the evening. But we'll talk about it before the week runs out. Whatever updates we come up with, we'll let you all know. Yeah. So that's just what I wanted to say. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you. God bless you. Have an amazing week. Bye for now. Adekunle, Banky, Jacob, Kiss, Me One, Shire. Have a great week ahead.